Our next guest, she is a young college student who woke up one morning and her vision was no longer there. And she didn't give up. She persevered. Is that the right? Am I saying that right? And she kept going. She's on our show tonight, everyone. Please give it up for Sophia Rodrigues, everyone. Sophia. Do you go by Sophia or do you go by Sophie?
I go by Sophie.
Sophie?
Yes, Sophie with an E.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yes.
good. That's good. Good. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I didn't clarify, but your vision is now back. So
Yes.
everyone, she does have her vision now.
Yes, I can see now.
So you're a story that was submitted by a former professor of mine, and I was really excited she told me about this, and we talked, and I love this. So tell us now, tell us your story, Sophie.
Yeah, so this was actually my freshman year of college, and it was the last day of school, and I woke up one day and all my vision was gone. And I thought, maybe it was allergies or something, but in a span of 7 days, pretty much half my vision was taken away from me. Every single day that I woke up, a little bit was gone and a little bit more was gone. And I ended up going to a doctor. I got diagnosed with a degenerative eye disease, pretty much where my cornea is thinning out and it's pushing out, which causes major, major distortions. And within 6 months, I went from having 20/20 vision to being legally blind.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is one of my worst fears, is to wake up not being able to hear and not being able to be able to see, and that just happened. I would be terrified, and I would be really frustrated. And you tried a lot of different doctors here in New Mexico.
Yes, we tried, oh my gosh, doctor after doctor here. I was seeing 3 specialists, the best specialists in New Mexico, and they kind of shrugged their shoulders. 13 pairs of contacts, 3 pairs of glasses, nothing was working. And so I kind of just, I was so devastated. Literally one of the most heart-wrenching things of my life, especially waking up every single morning and a little bit of your independence is stripped away from you. And I essentially became like a child again. I literally could not do anything by myself. And so that in itself was incredibly hard to deal with, especially dealing with all the doctors who are just kind of shrugging their shoulders and not really knowing what to do. Thankfully though, me and my family, my parents, we did our own research and we found a doctor in Beverly Hills, California who has claimed to fix my disease.
What's your disease called?
It's called keratoconus.
We have a couple photos of this so we can kind of show the audience
of course.
What this entails, because you described it, so you guys can see what normal vision is here. This is the early stage, and did you get to this advanced stage over here?
Yes, I was 2200.
2200?
Before surgery.
So everything you saw was this?
Yes, I remember I was actually at a doctor's appointment and I was doing a test to see where my vision was, how bad it's declined. And he asked me to read the lowest letter I could read, and I thought I was looking at a blank screen and there was actually letters there the entire time.
Oh my gosh.
It was devastating. I was bawling my eyes out in the doctor's office.
What did you do? So, because you couldn't drive anymore. You still stayed in school?
Yes, so I actually, it's very fitting that I'm a psychology major and I'm actually going into health psychology. So I was actually learning about ways to deal with health crisis while I was going through this. And so I ended up moving to Colorado. And I lived on campus and implemented a lot of health psychology just things, you know what I mean? Philosophies, things like that. And especially, it was my thoughts. That was the key to everything. Misfortune is literally going to happen to every single one of us. And we have the ability, we have the choice to decide to either let our misfortune consume you and consume every part of your life, or you can choose to learn and grow from it. And so, at first, obviously, oh my gosh, I was an emotional wreck. I was crying every single day. And of course, it's just devastating. And I was just crying and crying. And especially for me, I didn't think that there was going to be any more options. And so finally, I was like, I can't live like this. I can't live the rest of my life like this. And so it especially started with changing my thought life. So especially started with changing my thought life. And when I remember I was just crying and sobbing one day. And I just came to the realization, like, I cannot live like this. And I just realized that it wasn't my disease that put me into the place that I was in. It was the way that I was perceiving what was happening to me, and it was the way that I was letting my negative emotions overtake every part of my being.
That's a fascinating way to explain it, the way that you perceive the situation.
Oh my gosh, like, you're never gonna be able to control a situation, right? I mean, life is crazy, things are gonna happen to all of us, but we can control the way that we perceive what's happening to us and the way that we emotionally react. And so those two things in itself, if you have control of just those two things, this huge monster that seems so incredibly big, it's at the palm of your hand. And so, especially doing that, I really had to focus in on, really had to figure out what I was focusing on. And I was focusing on the monster that was in front of me, of being blind. And I was worrying, oh my gosh, worrying my life away in the future. And I mean, it's plausible things, you know, like, how am I gonna how am I supposed to take care of my kiddos, like, in the future, you know? Like, I mean, it was real things like that I was, you know, just really sad about. But instead, like, we only have a certain amount of emotional energy that we can exert throughout a day. And so instead of having that emotional energy and using it to worry about the future, I said, okay, today we're gonna focus on the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. And even just getting up and going to class in itself was a huge, huge struggle.
Oh my gosh.
And so instead of, again, instead of focusing on, oh my gosh, like, this is what I have to do this week, this is what I have to do this year, how am I supposed to go to 3 more years of college being blind? I would get up in the morning, I would spend everything that I had, every being inside of me, to get up and to make it to class. And then when I got to class, I would celebrate it. You know, I would just sit there and I'd be so incredibly excited. Like, so you made it to class. You got up, you put clothes on, you were able to do all that, and you were able to walk yourself to class blind. Yeah. I mean, I'd have to, like, thank you. I mean, granted, I'd have to, like, map out my college with, like, steps and feeling edges and things like that. But so instead, I'm in class just vibrant because I was so proud of myself for making it to class instead of being so worried about the future. I mean, everything is about perception and the way and perspective. It's a completely different perspective.
What was the switch that went from you being upset when it first happened to I'm going to make the best of this? And what was the moment that made that turn?
I've actually thought about this a lot, and I think I was just so miserable, and I think that like I said before, like, I didn't think that there were gonna be any more options. And so, I mean, I was at the point, I just woke up one day and I said, like, I'm not gonna live a miserable life. Like, I'm not going to live like this anymore. And that was when I started implementing a lot of different things. And even in my class, like in one of my classes, we were learning how you can actually switch your brain into activating your parasympathetic mode. And so I remember one time I was walking down the street, and I was trying to make it to class, and I have to go past a couple roads. So that was the tricky part. And I'd usually follow people, and this is how I did things. I'd look at footsteps, and I'd find someone's feet, and I would follow their feet the entire time. So when cars were coming or something like that, as long as I was following someone's feet, I knew I was safe. But one day someone wasn't there. And so I was trying to cross it by myself, and I got stuck halfway. And I remember I was like shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, anxiety just overtaking me. I couldn't see, I heard cars, I heard people, like, I had no idea where I was. And so instead, calmed myself down. I sat there, and if you breathe with your diaphragm, that's how you trick your parasympathetic mode into activation. So I just sat there and I breathed with my diaphragm, calmed myself down enough so I didn't have like a complete anxiety attack breakdown. And pretty much like called someone who got me to safety. So I had to do that a lot.
We take things for granted then, wow.
Oh yeah.
Right when I got off the phone with you, someone came into my office and they complained about, I don't know if they like complained that they were sick or like something, like they had to like ride their bike to work. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, you have no idea. Like, do not even dare complain. I just talked to a girl who didn't have her eyesight, you know what I mean? And it's like we take so much for granted and we don't realize what we have.
Oh, absolutely. And that was kind of one of the main things that I learned too. we can choose, again, with a focus. We can either choose to focus on the one thing that we don't have, like eyesight. I mean, it's kind of a big thing, but that's one thing. And ignoring the 20, the 30, the hundreds and hundreds of blessings that we do have. And like, joy is a choice. Happiness is a choice. And so one thing that I did implement is that every single morning, and this was my absolute saving grace, every single morning when I woke up, I'd wake up an hour early before classes, like clockwork, every single day. And I sat and I would read my Bible, and I would pray, and I would meditate. And I mean, we're beings of meaning. We need meaning. We need purpose. And so I'd pray and I would meditate and I would count every single one of my blessings.
Did you pray that your eyesight would get cured, or were you just praying for patience, or like what would you pray for?
Honestly, I would just pray that the Lord's will would be done. There are things that we don't understand, and things happen to us that we're not going to understand the reason why, but there is a reason why. And things that were intended for evil, like the Lord is going to make for so much good. And so, just like counting every single one of those blessings, like, wow, like I have a family, I have friends, I get to go to college. Like, maybe I can't eat my food, but I have food to eat. You know what I mean? Like, that in itself.
That's
and so,
awesome.
yeah, like being able to just, like just telling yourself that and just telling your subconscious that, especially, like, I'm going to have a good day. Sometimes your mind doesn't know the difference between not reality and reality, and you can pave your way into, pave your future into the emotions that you're going to have for that day. So envisioning myself, I'm going to have a good day. Today in class, I'm going to be happy.
Did I hear as well that you actually you did rugby while this was all going down?
Yeah, so I tried to do everything and prove to everyone that I was blind, but I could still
When you played rugby, were they just like blobs?
Oh, there was nothing. There was nothing.
You just run?
I honestly, that was such a bad idea, and I don't know. I'm lucky to be here right now because, I ended up getting a 3.7 GPA in college. I played rugby.
That's higher than I ever had.
Yeah, I played rugby. I learned to play rugby. I didn't even know how to play. And they're like, hey, come play. And I was like, I'm blind, but okay. So I ended up learning how to play rugby. Played every single weekend. I held 2 jobs.
We have no excuses, wow.
Yeah, so I was pretty much able to, as long as I implemented, if I did those things in the morning, and I really, really had to just put so much psychology into it. And even before my job, even before classes, I had to visualize myself and the way that I was going to emotionally react to it, so that in turn, I was setting myself up to react in the way that I told my mind to react.
I love this story. You are extremely fascinating, Sophia. I need to cut to a commercial real quick, and we're going to be right back, all right? Stay tuned, everyone.
Good.